Life-ruining revenge 6 years in the making. Now that that's out of the way, the backstory: I have had a on-again off-again relationship with this girl since junior high. We've constantly been in each other's lives, even to this day we still talk. I thought I was in love with her, shocker I wasn't, but in high school things got pretty serious between us, and the more serious we got the worse we treated each other when we fought. It was the most toxic relationship I have ever been in, but we're actually great friends now. At the time I was working stock crew at the mall toy store. Sometimes it was an early morning shift, sometimes it was overnight, so my sleep schedule was all messed up. We were dating and sleeping together pretty regularly my entire senior year. She had her circle of friends, I had mine, and they rarely intersected. Enter Deckhead Kyle. Now Deckhead Kyle gave a bad name to all other monster chugging, drywall assaulting Kyles. He was physically and mentally abusive to his girlfriend, later wife. He manipulated his friends into letting him walk all over them. Got one girl hooked on pills after he got her pregnant so she would be first to give the baby up. Just a next level scumbag. Kyle was a part of both our circles. He was friends with a few acquaintances I had, and the girl was pretty close to his girlfriend. The girl and I had just had a really bad fight a few days before and had made up in our usual way. As I was getting ready to go to bed for work the next morning, my phone went off. It was a text from Kyle followed by 3 pictures. One nude of my girlfriend, one of my girlfriend and his, and the last one only half loaded, but it was clearly a picture of my girlfriend giving him a blowjob. I was furious, but as I was already graduated I wouldn't run into him again to take my rage out the traditional way, so I just said forget it and moved on with my life. I was still mad at the girl for cheating on me again. This happened multiple times on both ends, so it was forgiven pretty quickly, so we fought it out a few times and eventually made up when she told me the whole story. Kyle had told her I was sleeping with his girlfriend's sister or something and that this was how she should get back at me. Now was it petty and dumb? Absolutely. But he wasn't so bright and the story wasn't so far-fetched that she didn't believe him. She told me that since it was bullshit on his end she was done with both of them and we went on with our lives. The start of the long game. A few years go by, the girl has moved to another state but we still keep in touch, and out of the blue Kyle's wife hits me up on the Book of Faces. We talk about how life has been and whatnot, where we live and such. Turns out she's just down the street from me. We keep talking every so often when she texts one day asking for a favor. I'm not working that day and bored out of my mind, so I oblige and run a pack of smokes down to her since she's out and can't get more because of her kid. I get to her apartment and we hang out for a bit talking. We head out to the patio for a cigarette, and in the daylight her shirt is almost completely see-through. I make a offhand comment about it and without a second thought she pulls her shirt off. We go back inside and go to town on each other on her and Kyle's bed. We keep the affair going a few weeks, then just kinda stop. At this point I felt my revenge was complete. I had this guy's wife on his bed and he won't know till they get into another huge fight. I wipe my hands of the drama and go about my day. Fast forward another few years, my band had just finished a huge show before we went on tour, and as I'm doing the meet and greet thing at our merch booth I get a Facebook message from Kyle before the quarantine non-friend messages. Kyle was in the hospital. He said it was serious and had a question. Did you ever spend time with Hannah? I'm looking at this text thinking of all the ways I could mess with his head, but decided to probe a little by saying I think that's something you should ask her first. He replies I did, and she told me something happened at our apartment. I need to know if it's true. So I think for a second and send him 2 pictures we took, one of her giving me OL, and one of the aftermath. He just replies THX and blocked me. I think good, now the DCK knows what it feels like and go about my merry. But this story isn't done yet, friendos, not by a long shot. See, unbeknownst to me, Hannah and Kyle had another kid around 9 months after our affair, and it wasn't Kyle's. From the pictures it was obvious that we didn't use protection and there was no pullout, so he immediately suspected it was mine. Hannah knew better since she was already pregnant when we started, but just barely. Kyle viewed me as his enemy ever since high school because I stole all of his friends. So knowing that he was raising the child of someone he hated just burned him up inside. He turned to hard drugs and became a raging alcoholic, tried to get information on where I lived and kept trying to get revenge on me for all of this but failed miserably. Lost his job, his family, what few long-time friends he had. Basically his life just crashed around him. About 2 years ago I reconnected with another ex from high school and she told me the aftermath, what Kyle tried to do, what ended up happening to his life. Hannah took him for everything in their divorce. Last I heard Hess locked up for robbing a liquor store while carrying methamphetamines and a loaded pistol which landed him in for about 12 years. Redditors reactions story 2 after. Redditor 1, for someone who expresses a lot of hatred for Kyle, you are very Kyle-like. Op answer, no drywall was harmed in the making of this revenge. Also no monsters chugged. Redditor 2, I think you were the pawn in this and that Kyle's wife did the revenge. 1. Kyle's wife contacts you out of the blue for some stupid errand. Why? Because she probably knew you hated him or he hated you. 2. When you show up she is wearing something see-through and is immediately down for S-time 3. When he called you, he already knew you had S-time with her, so she told him to PSS him off. 4. You had 2 pics of her, so she must have known they might get to him, and probably wanted him to get them at some point. 5. She got pregnant by someone else, maybe wanted to throw in some extra partners to really mess with him or make more targets for his rage versus the real father of the child. 6. She divorced him and took him for everything, taking advantage of his time in the hospital I suppose. Redditor follow up, yeah. She sounds like the mastermind here. I'd love to hear the story from her view. Story 2, don't mess with my little sister. I have twin sisters that are a couple years younger than me. They are 2 of the sweetest little girls and avoid confrontation, almost the exact opposite of me. So because they're so sweet they are prone to bullying, and because they are good-looking young women most of the bullying comes from girls who are jealous of them. The time of this story I was 19 and they were 16. My first year of college I was 3 hours away from home, so any bullying that happened couldn't be directly confronted or taken care of by me. That doesn't mean I wasn't involved. So apparently my younger sister had a new boyfriend that used to be involved with one of the head cheerleaders at my sister's high school. Knowing about a new relationship between the boy and my sister, a gang of cheerleaders started to bully my sister both online and in school. Daily I would get phone calls from my little sister crying about being harassed. My advice to RKO them, and cut their hair in class did not work because let's face it, neither of the twins had the balls to do anything about the girls. So instead I took matters into my own hands and messaged all of the little cheerleading beaches involved and let them know if the bullying did not cease I would make the 3-hour drive home and make them stop. This only encouraged more taunting and bullying so you can't fight your own battles. For my sister, since I went to the same high school I had known these cheerleaders. Actually had an affair with one of their older brothers and almost ruined his marriage, all a part of revenge for my sisters. But I also knew that our high school had a no-tolerance truancy rule, and if you were caught leaving campus you were immediately suspended and in big trouble. I used this to my advantage when I saw that the girls had left campus not only on a Friday, but in their cheerleading uniforms, on a football game day, and posted about their lunchtime adventure to Subway on Snapchat. I used this to my advantage and called the school pretending to be an upset woman, whose car was almost hit by the cheerleader's car pulling out of the Subway parking lot. I asked to speak to the head cheer coach and made up a whole elaborate story about the girls cussing at me, almost hitting my car, wearing their uniforms and talking acid to me. The coach assured me the girls would have consequences and that they shouldn't even have been off campus to begin with. They ended up being kicked off the cheer team and put in school suspension, a room where you sit in complete silence and do your schoolwork while not allowed to talk or socialize or have your phone for a whole week. They never cheered again, which was a big deal because they would post on social media about how much they loved to do it. I called my little sister and told her what I did and she was amazed at how clever I was and how it played out. Every day she saw them in suspension she would text me and tell me what horrendous things were happening to them while they sat with the special needs kids at lunch and weren't allowed to leave anywhere. Redditors reactions. Redditor 1. Wow. That's so ducking smart, good job. Op answer. Best part was I did all of this while still being 3 hours away from home. Redditor 2. Kudos to you for pulling that off. Granted, part of me wants to see those beaches getting much worse, like getting arrested for something, but getting them suspended, kicked off the cheer squad, And then ruining one of their marriages is pretty damn good too. Redditor 3, 1. Did that BF not do anything? 2. Did your sisters not report any of it? 3. Tell us more about the affair with the brother of one of the bullies. Op. Answer, oh shoot, that's my fave part, and I'll also answer your other questions. 1. He said that they were just friends and didn't want to ruin the friendship. My sister only dated this dude for a couple months, thank God. He was no good from the beginning too. My school is on the ghetto side of town of a super Hispanic city in Texas. My sister are white with blonde hair and blue eyes, half Puerto Rican, half Thai, half white, so they never got the sympathy vote from anyone, and it was the type of school where they were daily fights and bullying is on the high side. Big dog eats little dog, you had to fend for yourself. 3. So this guy is in the military and I knew him BC. He was a couple years older than me in high school and was that cheerleader's big bro. One day he inboxed me and said he wanted to hang out. He had just got back to Texas from wherever he was stationed. He had 2 daughters and a wife, but I was told they were split. Turns out he lied, and after hanging out and doing our thing, he and his wife are both claiming each other on social media again, and one day she DMs me and asked me what happened BC. She saw old messages and well, I just told the truth. In the back of my head I knew they were still together and he was lying, but duck him and duck his little sister. And also his little sister, evil cheerleader, was dating a boy my age I happened to be friends with, and he was cheating on her daily with a lot of people I knew, and I never said anything to her BC. Well, you picked on my little sis. Redditor 4, bonus was that any of them hoping for a cheer scholarship could kiss it goodbye.